right, look, okay, I think we're live now. I think hopefully the audio is going out well. Double checking that it's not picking up my secondary mic. For some reason I have a weird, silly mic plugged in that somehow just does that. And now it's, okay, I have the numbers up top now. Okay, how's everyone doing out there? Gail, what's up? Gil, Roberts, how's everyone doing? Thank you for joining in for another wonderful live stream. Again, we're just going to be looking at basically some stocks going into the close. More importantly, we're going to be looking at DocuSign and Slack. Those are the two big stocks that are on the current market or the on the agenda. The two big headwinds. What's up, guys? Omar, AB. Oh, for Bank of America, we can look at that. Yeah, I've been trying to do this a little bit more often to kind of get things like that. So let me go ahead and I'm going to put this away. Now you should see my awesome, fantastic charts. Again, if you're kind of posted this morning a potential breakout, if we needed to see it basically, we can go do this on SPY to kind of give a better sense of what's going on here. Basically, kind of need a break above like the 213.50-ish level. Hitting some overhead resistance potentially. I don't know how severe it's going to be. Again, I'm kind of just sitting on my hands and waiting, kind of seeing how the market plays out. Today we kind of had a we haven't filled this gap that we had from Tuesday into Wednesday. Could maybe come down here potentially looking for the first line of resistance around 308 and then 305, and then of course the big one's going to come in around the 298 to 295. That's going to be a lot of support on the way down due to the fact of that. Okay, let's go ahead and look at some fantastic. Omar wants BAC, which is Bank of America, if I remember right. Yeah, so they've been popping off pretty good here. Let's do a quick fib. Again, they're nowhere near their 50% retracement, which is going to be up. Okay, I was going to say they're going to be near their 50% retracement. Let's double check that. So that is literally hit the tick on the T, right? Let's actually look for the high tick is 2678, and the 50% retracement is 2681. I'm not going to be a nerd about it. That's pretty hit the 50% retracement there. That could be a potential some overhead resistance. I'm just going to call overhead resistance around 2750 due to the fact of the 200 exponential moving average is there as well. We kind of need a break through that. If it has enough momentum, which the volume oscillator is kind of signaling that. Let me scroll this down a little bit. RSI is still not overbought yet, so that usually when it gets above 80 is a very strong sign of being overbought. The momentum is still on the good side. It's looking like if we have another great day, this could be potentially push higher again, due to the fact of the pandemic being canceled basically, and everyone's really just coming out of the house and just kind of getting done and over with it. They're kind of over the virus. So that's going to be my overhead is going to be around 2750 and support on the way down. I'm not gonna give Bank of America the 5 and 8 exponential moving average for support unless you're kind of really day trading it. If you're doing it more on the daily chart, which we kind of do here, it's going to come down to around 24 for initial support if it tries to fall or break lower. We do like that the parabolic SAR is still printing below here, so we could see some fantastic continuous strength to try to pop this through the 200-day here. I hope that helps you there, my friend. BA, yes, BA has a lot of stocks have been performing fairly well here. So BA is basically, there's a lot of rumors. I don't like to follow rumors. That there is a potential substantial indication of the MAX jets being able to be certified and able to fly again. So I think that was kind of what's popping off here, and due to the fact that Amazon is leasing a couple of their jets, I think like 10 or 12 on what is going on here currently for their Amazon fleet. So where that's how they deliver packages. So because Amazon is basically looking potentially, or is zoning out FedEx and UPS and just creating their own shipping network as well. So with BA, I don't know where I thought I had this one is not going to be very near the 50% retracement. So again, this has been beaten up so much. And this, if you look at this, and then someone posted about AAL, so we're just going to do the overall JETS ETF, and that kind of just sums everything up for that current market. The overhead resistance is going to be basically here at 204, the initial here for overhead resistance. Downward support could come in here at 160, but I'm going to call it around 150, 148 for downward support. If it does come, lack of better words, falling out of the sky, that we could potentially, looks like this one down here, I can just actually nix this 115 that kind of got away from that. But again, it's still substantially under its 200-day exponential moving average. We do like that some of the moving averages are starting to cross over. The 34 and 50 are going to starting to cross above the 21, or they're still below 21. So this 34, which is this teal line, needs to start breaking above the 50 as well to continue pushing higher. Yeah, Omar, Bank of America does look pretty good because they have a pretty huge surplus of money deposits. Thank you for joining the live stream, my friend. Looks good. BAC. Could you go over some trades you made recently, Earl? What have I been trading? I shorted the futures last night around 8 o'clock. That was nice. What else have I done? I got out of my DraftKings. I didn't. What else did I get? I haven't been buying that much. I've just been kind of waiting for a pullback, to be quite honest with you. I did short the other day, which is still kind of hot, is Axon. So this is the guys who make the tasers and different stuff for police, not webcams, they're body cams. And I kind of shorted this. By shorting this, I sold some calls. I think the 100 strike, and that's one of the more recent trades that I have done there, Earl. Device is saying AAL. AAL, that's American Airlines. Yeah, it's up 40%. So I forget, what was it? Was it BA that said, or their CEO who said that one of the airlines are going to be failing in the next couple months, and he kind of retracted that and was like, maybe not actually. He's misspoke. I don't know what's going on over there. That being said, looking like, again, this looks just like BA, honestly, but smaller scale by price size. It's still hitting the 38.2 retracement. I like it a little bit better, but what we're going to do is actually look at JETS. So JETS is going to be basically representing this as well. I know it's not up 40%, it's only up 11%, but the chart pattern looks exactly the same. And again, it's trying its darnest to get the 34 above the 50. Parabolic SAR, the little purple dots are printing in the right direction. It's looking at as a target in mind, and the target is basically the 200-day exponential moving average on the way to kind of break through that. Bam, Joy Fralin, Tesla. Yeah, we can do Tesla for sure. TSLA. So I don't know if you guys saw Elon. He said he was going to get off Twitter, but then he got back on Twitter, and someone posted about regarding of someone's book wasn't published on Amazon because of the pandemic stuff and the virus, and basically they had to cancel it, the book or something. I haven't watched the video, but I just saw it on Twitter, where Elon's saying that Amazon's monopoly needs to be stopped, and it needs to continue. It needs to be broken up. So if you don't know that Tesla is a very much a competitor via Amazon, because Amazon owns or help fund a EV startup, and it's going to help support them with the first 100 or 200 electric vans for delivery. And they also, Jeff Bezos, owns Blue Origin, which is also a space company. But let's be honest, SpaceX is light year or miles ahead of anything that Blue Origin is really doing, from what I understand. And I'm not a rocket scientist at all, so Tesla's getting all the bids, lack of better words. So Tesla, okay, kind of went off a tangent, my bad. So this has kind of just been kind of like in a mode. I was actually going to do a piece on Tesla to kind of say when's it going to hit 1,000, basically, or if it's going to hit 1,000. It really needs to it's taking these stair steps higher. It's kind of popping up, leveling off, popping up, leveling off, popping up, leveling off. So potentially with the overall market, this could, if the overall market starts to turn, we could see a little pullback. Plus, again, if the whole market turns, a lot of indications that everything else kind of goes with it, lack of better words, and then we could see a downtick. But again, that's just with the tide of the ocean, aka the market. It kind of just drags everything along because there's so many ETFs, and Tesla's part of so many different ETFs. Once I think they get into and more ETFs, you're going to see these movements quite drastically, a lot more. So that being said, basically we're going to see first level support. I'm not going to even call the 5 and 8 exponential moving average. I'm just going to call it at around 817, because we've seen that the 5 and 8 has been so tightly twound in together, but it has bounced off the 21 quite numerous times the last couple weeks. So if we get a pullback and it closes above the 21, I think it would be the trend is still intact. Once we see the 5 and 8 start crossing through the 21 and it starts closing with the 21, you see the parabolic SAR switch on top of the 5 and 8 crossing through the 21. We could see a potential trend change or a switch. As of right now, everything's just nominal, lack of better words, and looking for a potential kick higher. Again, it's going to be a lot of overhead resistance here again around the 900 level. So just be very mindful of that. Yeah, I don't think Jeff and Elon like each other at all. Work is going to be zoomed or bust. I don't know. Let's take a quick look at work. So what I did with the previous one, if you guys joined the Zoom live stream we did on Tuesday, so I totally even forgot. I need everyone in the comment section or the chat. Don't forget to hit the likes and subscribe if you haven't already. Let's get that business out of order. And then, more importantly, I need everyone to tell me what beverage and what snack they brought to the live stream. I was kind of basic, and I brought my H2O, and I brought some Costco trail mix, which is just the traditional trail mix with like peanuts, almonds, raisins, and of course M&Ms. So get a little snack, afternoon snack. That being said, as I'm snacking and I'm drinking my water, that looking for the move. So this box is what the market makers are saying for the potential move for earnings. So how am I getting this? I'm getting this from this little tag right here. So it's saying the weekly options that are expiring this Friday are saying move very high in implied volatility at $4.50. So $4.50, that is from current price, is basically, we're going to call it 42 and 34. So this is the movement on the potential range of the 68th percentile move of work into, what's today, until tomorrow. So it's quite a bit of movement, again, because it is earnings. We saw Zoom kind of trade really strange and sideways excuse me, trade sideways, and we could see a lot of volatility because it has had a quite significant run up into earnings. I kind of want to see. We can do this here real fast. I can show. Maybe we can do a trade here. We're gonna look here. Might want to sell. So it's saying it's the move was, what did I say? The low 34. So I want to sell. I'm looking. What I look at too is what the volume is and how many open contracts there is. So 34.50. So my max profit is $30. I'm risking 70 because I'm selling those puts, but my likelihood of profitability is 70%, which I like. So for example, if I just did straight calls and I bought like the $40 call, my probability of profit is 22%. Yes, my profit is unlimited, and my max loss is the initial debit that I paid. But what for my strategy and particularly my trading is I like that probability of profit substantially higher, because again, it is earnings. We do not have any idea of what's going on here, because it could be complete. It's a coin toss. It's a flip of the coin. It's heads or tails. The CEO can say certain things can happen. We just don't know. So it could be a potentially just a disaster or a nightmare. So I'm going to take this trade here. Just going to see. I'm kind of going to be. Let's see if this is going to get filled. And I got filled. All right, so that is my trade in work. I normally don't like to trade earnings, but I kind of wanted to give the example for what I'm talking about for an earnings trade. So the reason why I chose that was the near the 21 exponential moving average. It's slightly towards the tail end of the expected move. So more likely it's going to be in line where it might just move $2 or $3. So, but we'll see. It's already down 4.5% today. This could be to the fact of DocuSign. Oh my gosh, we've got let's see here. So we could see what goes on there. Let's do DoCU as well. So that's down nearly 5% today as well. I'm not going to be. This one's a little bit higher price stock. We do see that it's kind of coming off here a little bit too. Again, it's an earnings call, so the plus or minus, it was $12. So it's 11. Let's just call, $12. So plus or minus here, looking for a high potentially or one standard deviation breakout of 155 down to 130. So we'll see. We'll see what happens there. Again, normally these report fairly the first 10 or 15 minutes after market close. We'll zoom in and look at the day or the like a 5 or 1 minute chart. Usually don't like 1 minute charts. It's just too much information coming at me. Not seeing. We can look at DOCU here as well. Oops, I spelled it wrong. There's a lot of options here at 130, but you can see that I'm going further out. I'm not doing that current expiration. There is quite a large standard deviation here all the way to the 120 level because the IV is fairly high. You can look here at 200% as well. For this options chain here, again, what I'm using here is Tastyworks. We can look at potential high moves here. We have a couple seconds left of the close here. I kind of want to, let's see if we can get this for 110, 120. I want to say it's going to be good, right? I don't know. I already placed a small bet just for example purposes on, oh, there's the bell. Never mind. All right, well, there's the bell. So now we just sit back, enjoy our water, and just sit back and relax. Oh, Paul Woods, hey Ken, nervous as I have 50. 50 what? Iced tea and grapes with cheese. My God. Man, you got some high class society there. OJ and soda, water, fruit. Nice. Anybody else watch the Starlink? I did watch the Starlink last night. That was, I think, I've been waiting to see on what comes through. Elon Musk has said multiple times where they're not even caring about a potential IPO for Starlink. It's going to be a very tough situation with Starlink because that's going to help SpaceX print a lot of money, honestly, and kind of get them off to a really great start, potentially, and continue their funding alongside of sending astronauts into space to go to potentially again ISS or the International Space Station, and then potentially start building a home base on the moon and take that home base into Mars. So we'll see what happens. I don't know how we start talking about SpaceX again. I always come around about to that. All right, so if you're just tuning in, we did actually take one trade. We sold the 34, I think, put. So we're, okay, of course, we want Slack to continue above that potential price. So we'll see. Oh, okay, Paul, you're at 142 on DocuSign. Okay, that's a pretty substantial position there. Yeah, that's DocuSign is great. Like I had that. Yeah, I wish I could invest in SpaceX as well. Like that's literally somewhat the future, I think. If only, exactly. If only there. If only. All right. So let's kind of see on what happens here. So I'm gonna switch over to this guy here. I'm gonna turn on link. We're gonna do like a 1 minute here. Ah, that's two. Whoa, that's way too many lines. Sorry there, guys. So we're gonna do work, and then we're gonna do doc you here, and then we can kind of turn on the news here. There, the news here. Fantastic. So again, I think with both of them, they really came into everyone's perspective of, again, being able to work from home, be able to do their jobs. I know numerous people who literally just use DocuSign for everything due to the fact of from buying a house and whatever. It's literally just changed the world. So I'm also going to turn on level 2. So I'm going to walk you guys through this. So what we're going to do here, I know it looks like a lot of shit on the screen, isn't it? I'm sorry. I'm going to scrunch this down. There we go. All right, so we're going to be looking here on work. So that's one we actually place a bet on, and DocuSign here as well. So normally this is going to take a little bit, like 10 or 15 minutes, and we'll see a potential kick out. We're looking here on level 2, which is basically the ask and the bid and the ask of potential who wants to sell, who wants to buy, and then seeing on some prices and volume coming in through there. Usually these start popping off once something is announced pretty drastically. And then for what does come announced, we can see here on the news live tab here. That's going to be in the lower left hand side here, and that's usually you'll see a countdown like 2, 3, 1, and they spit out all the wonderful data and so forth there. And while we kind of just sit and wait for that, enjoying our snacks and their company, what is that layout? So this layout is a flex grid. It's like next to the charts tab, and I just customized it. Yeah, finance sector is looking strong. I actually have some interesting perspective on it due to the fact of some folks that I know are very bullish on it. Frank says, Riot blockchain opinion, please. We can take a looky-loo. Let's go. I'm going to switch back here. R-O-I-T. Oops. R-I-O-T. There we go. As we this kind of broke down like on the video I did on Monday, Frank. I can't remember when I did it. We're looking for a comeback, maybe. It is showing a lot of momentum and force of coming through. Again, I don't know an in-depth view on exactly what they do. Of course, they have blockchain in the name, and I kind of did peruse around the website and so forth to see what's going on. It looks promising. Again, I don't know if you're a long-term holder, but if you're trading it, you got to be super careful because, again, it has broken above the 200-day exponential moving average here. The 21 has crossed it. The 34 is about to cross. The 50-day is trying to cross. We've had some pretty big volume days. If this can continue going higher, great. I'm just a little skeptical because it is a very cheaper stock, so we could see a kind of a particular sell-off because people try to get in that maybe this could have been a FOMO, because if you look here on the volume, I'm going to throw you to this chart here. Again, on a daily chart, you see this huge amount of volume coming in, and on those volume days, we did come higher, but we kind of came back lower. We kind of came back higher, and then we came back lower, but then potentially breaking through. This ongoing strength needs to kind of continue if we want to continue seeing some onward, upward projections. Again, I have that $3 target kind of there in price, in place, and then potentially if it breaks below 2, the 200-day kind of needs to come in for support at like 175. So hopefully that helps you there, my friend. FCEL. Fuel cell energy. Okay, that's interesting. Looks like there's going to be some overhead pressure here coming around. I'm just going to call it at 275 here. Let's see. I'm going to go try to get more history on this particular chart. And downward pressure, because you have seen that it has, again, this is similar to what we just looked at here, with looks like this movement up here. There's not much volume behind this, which is kind of actually a good thing. We do have earnings on the horizon, which could be a catalyst. Again, we don't like to truly buy a larger position or something. Yeah, Andrew, so we're actually watching it here too. So we have it on the flex grid. Oh, it looks like DOCU did report something. Yep, okay, DOCU just came through. Thank you, Andrew. So we can see here, looking at 145, potentially getting higher. Let's see what on total sales, 325. A lot of volumes coming in to buy it here. You can see here, first quarter. So it beat by 2 cents on the first quarter adjustment sales. Beat pretty substantially. That being said, it's on, what does it say, 30 million, sorry, looking at 280 estimate million, and they got to 297, which is, these are great numbers for sure. Again, due to the overall pandemic, we can see potential kicks higher here. I don't like to say that it's going to go substantially higher, just due to the fact of we have to wait till the conference call happens, because the conference call has to happen, and the CEO needs to talk, and the company needs to kind of come out and say what they're expecting. And again, we're just looking at numbers here, which I'm okay with looking at numbers, but I honestly like to hear from the horse's mouth to kind of see what they're talking about, before I start going too excited that DocuSign is up $5 or $6 after hours. So that being said, it's not hitting all-time highs, but again, like we talked about within the previous chart, we can go here. We were looking at a movement potentially up to 155. So we're at 145-ish. So we're basically at where we were like 2 or 3 days ago. So it's not breaking to all-time highs. So we'll see. It's nothing on work yet. I'm not seeing anything here. So on what happens is usually you'll see a countdown like we saw here. You see DocuSign's announced first quarter fiscal earnings. You see 2, 3, and it kind of does a little countdown, and then boom, it prints out the numbers. Again, holding it pretty steadily. So it's not a drastic sign. You did see, again, a lot of friction going on. That's usually what happens. After hours trading is considered the Wild West, lack of better words. It's the volume is so low, but the moves are so drastic. So that's why I call it the Wild West. What time do they come out? It's usually after the bell. Normally it's around like 4:15 to like maybe 4:30 potentially. So we'll see on exactly when they come out. I don't know when the earnings call is, if you're asking about that as well. So we'll see. Again, nothing. I was honestly nothing expecting too drastic for DocuSign, because it has kind of ran up the last 2 or 3 days, and now it sold off pretty heavy today, of nearly 5% or $7, and we're kind of seeing some of that kind of give back a little bit. Again, take this with a grain of salt, because this is after hours trading. The volume is super low, but it looks like so far so good on that sense. So let's see, go back to the flex grid. Looks like, is it coming out? Added over 9,090,000 new organizations to the plan. Why is this? Oh, okay. Why is this not moving here? Okay, it's kind of sold off a little bit here. Let's go actually bring this to the main screen here. We'll type in work. So we want to bring this down to like a 5-minute chart. I'm not seeing, this is strange. Oops. Okay, that might be why. Whoopsies. Woo! See, this is what I'm talking about. Like, this, let's figure out what the Hello Kitty's going on here, because that's a heck of a move for sure. On the way down, we're talking hitting towards the first deviation there for work. So that is a pretty drastic move down. We are seeing a lot of volume coming in. I don't know, again, we can see here, let's actually get rid, we can go to level 2 here. I don't know why it just pins that so high. So we're seeing the bid and ask, so we're seeing quite a bit of friction coming in. By friction, I mean there's a lot of contango-ish between the bid and the ask of trying to prop up the price. It is pressuring down quite a bit here. We're talking, we're down $4 or $5, basically $4.50 right now from where we closed. That's pretty substantial. So if we go back to the daily, actually we can just zoom out here. We kind of made that box here. So again, we are looking at pretty trading at 34-ish. So that's exactly where we sold that put at, right? So this could potentially, but we didn't sell the put that was expiring this week. We sold the put that was expiring in like 2 weeks. So we have some time on it. If so, we can always just kick it further down the road potentially, and seeing and just kind of give some more life to that particular put. So this is why I like to be very conservative, in lack of better words, in this investing strategy, especially for I'm sorry, I'm just taking a drink of water here. My throat's really dry. If I just went long calls, I would have this would have been an annihilation, and just been feeling a lot of stress there. So we'll see what happens. Well, actually, I want kind of to go back here. So let's see here, the style that might help. Yeah, that's a long red candle, right? Looks like they did adjust. I wish they made these numbers a little bit prettier. Oh, look, their guidance. Slack withdrew guidance. Yeah, that's, people don't like that on Wall Street. They don't like withdrawing guidance. Yeah, Andrew, I think I kind of agree with you. This is dropping quite drastically. This could be due to, well, I'd like to hear again what they're saying. Slack Technology sees a QQ loss versus Streets, so there's not that much of a loss. Revenue seems again, this is just these projection numbers that they put out there. They could be sandbagging it for the coming quarter. I think this is what's currently you're seeing going on here. So what we could potentially see, again, this is the Wild West in after hours trading. We could see like a bottom coming in here. We could see the earnings call coming out here around probably around 4:35 o'clock potentially. And then you can start seeing if the CEO or CFO or whoever on the C-suite starts saying some positive things. This could drive the price higher or kind of stop the bleeding and kind of give some sense to what these numbers mean. And rather than people just running and just jumping and sell. So DOCU is actually still climbing higher. Actually, it's getting up to around 147. So that's I think who was it? Was it Paul who had those couple stock there? I think what did you buy that at, Paul? You said 142. So did you buy it today at 142 or something, or the other day? So you're up a little bit there. Nothing too drastic there. With Slack, again, I'm just glad I sold those puts on the lower end of the deviation, so it kind of helped me avoid the misery of just buying straight calls. I think, again, I like to listen to the conversation first, but again, I think it is due to guidance, and they're giving some revenue adjustments that the street didn't like, and it's usually. I like to give this like 10 or 15 minutes to kind of gain its senses, and then mostly it's going to gain its senses by overnight. So by the opening tomorrow, we'll get a much better picture on what the market, aka the beast, thinks that Slack's value should be. I was expecting a potential downside, but nothing this drastic, honestly. So that's why you saw me sell that 34 put. But again, I gave myself plenty of time to kind of work with it. I'm not buying Friday's 34 put. That could have been pretty drastic and could have been in the money potentially. Kind of living off here. Potentially, we're going to see some bleeding. There's a lot of volume coming in here. We're seeing. Let's see here, this is really small down here. The ask, quite a few coming in around 32, 33, kind of bid it higher. We're seeing some people trying to sell it here at 330, a lot of volume actually, trying to sell it. Does anyone have any questions, comments, or anything? We can look at a couple more stocks before I get out of here. If you guys enjoyed this, again, don't forget to hit the like there. Hopefully, it didn't seem like that many people brought snacks. I need to probably prop that up more and tell people to bring snacks and hydration. I got a couple folks that brought watermelon and snacks, and someone brought like cheese and like, yeah, I should need to step up my game. I need to bring some like mineral water or something to these lovely events. And if you guys enjoyed this, again, let me know in the comments section or in the live chat. I actually I can talk about stocks 24/7, so sometimes I'm told that people get annoyed by how much I talk, so I rant and rave about a lot of different various things. So that's being said, Frank says, AAL time for a put. You mean sell a put or buy a put? I normally... Oh, you forgot your snack today? Let's look at a couple stocks here. Go back to the chart. Let me get rid of this. Boop. Alright, so we're going to look at... Thank you, Andrew. Thanks for the sub, my friend. Let's do AAL. That's American Airlines. So again, we talked about some overhead resistance at 1850. Potentially a lot of overhead resistance whenever the 200 comes in. It literally moved 41% today, or $4, nearly $5. That is a very drastic move. I could see some people kind of getting scared and just and being able just to run to the hill and take that easy profit. You'll see a lot of people, because they probably could have to kind of understand how the market works, you kind of have to understand how the human emotions work. So if someone bought this dip here, and then it went back up and it got to 16, and they're like, I'm going to hold it, and then it dipped all the way back down, they literally could have held it this whole way and said, and they, in the back of their brain, they said, when it hits 16 again, I'm out. Boom, I'm not taking that profit. And then, of course, they felt it, nearly their profit cut down by 40%, and then it kind of trading sideways for a couple of weeks, and then you get this huge spike up with massive amount of volume, okay? Again, we're looking at basically this kind of peaked around where it got up to 1810, 1811, but it literally started selling because I think a lot of that people who bought in on these dips were just kind of getting out for a trade. Hopefully that makes sense for you there, my friend. Roberts CTX. Oh, if I can type. CTXS. Okay, so this one's interesting. I'm thinking here. So the parabolic SR is really helping it here. The 5 and 8 have crossed through the 21, which I'm not really a big fan of. So this could be primed to do two things. It could be primed for a potential, or it can actually do three things without a doubt. Of course, it can go up, down, or trade sideways. That's the three things. But the overall pressure we're seeing here, it really needs to hold this line here. So we're gonna move. Actually, you can see here before we looked at it, we had some ongoing downward support here at 32. I'm just gonna move that up to basically the 36 level, 3650-ish level for support. If it starts breaking that, the 200 day is going to be coming in for the support. And of course, you can kind of see here on overhead resistance, once we do a very short Fibonacci retracement here, it's going to be coming in around 145 and then 147. So we're just going to call it here smack right in the middle of that for a potential overhead resistance on the way up. It needs to kind of break through that 21, and then I really don't like seeing the 5 and 8 kind of crossing through the 21 as well. It's kind of not a good look for me. Benjamin, I think with Slack as well, like we just kind of talked about it. I think it's getting crushed because honestly, I think Microsoft Teams is just gonna somewhat annihilate it. Lack of better words. It's a great product, but Microsoft Teams really shined a lot due to the overall work from home, and a lot of people already have with their companies the 365 email clients. So it kind of just gets naturally summed up. Get your coffee, nice, love it. Everyone sub, thank you, my friend. Wise work falling like a stone. Yeah, I think, like I said, Benjamin, I think it's due to the lack of competition and ongoing things. Oh, it's got dividends today. Okay, so normally with dividends, it kind of goes down to whatever the dividend pays out. But like I said, Roberts, it's kind of have to hold that support line potentially for another curve higher. It needs to really get that momentum to kind of break through the 21. Work is really getting hit here, isn't it? That sucks for them. Sad. Good company stuff. They actually lost money, right? That's never good. Yeah, well, let's see what the earnings call comes out, and we'll see what happens from there. Guys, if there's any more comments, questions, or anything like that, we're going to just sign off for today. And then we'll see you probably... the next live stream is probably going to be on Sunday. That's going to be the ordinary chatting about charts. Usually goes on for 60 to 90 minutes. We kind of dive into a couple stocks that are on the radar, and then we kind of just go kind of what we just did here and just chat with people about trading and things like that. Newer trader here, would someone explain the guidance please and how it affects the stock? That's going to be a long running question. So guidance, So the reason why stocks exist, it's basically what is the future value of this company, and what the present value. What we're looking at is what people are willing to pay for it. So if the company says, "Yeah, I see some headwinds coming in due to the fact of Microsoft Teams is taking some market share," they're not going to come out and straight say that. I don't believe so, but you can kind of put the pieces together. That we see kind of painting a story of some kind, and then you have the analysts asking questions on the conference calls, and they can be very direct. They're like, "Hey, what is your biggest competitor, and are they taking market share away?" And that usually is going to be a big driver on what happens here. Blooming Brands, please. What is the ticker for that, Dave? I don't know the ticker off the top of my head. I hope that kind of explained it to you. So guidance is basically saying that, like, for example, work is saying, hey, we potentially in the next 2 or 3 quarters, we could see some headwinds due to the fact of we're ramping up some R&D due to the fact of trying to expand and compete with Microsoft Teams. So we're needing to add more devs to be able to do so. Bob, I actually haven't. The only 2 trades I really did, actually, this last couple days, it hasn't been much. Like I just sold that the work put, the 34 put. I sold some calls in AAXN, and then I traded the futures last night a little bit. That's about it. That's all. I kind of been waiting for more of a pullback here before I start buying some things, and kind of going with that. Dave, BLMN. Okay, let's see here. This looks pretty ripe here. It looks like the 200-day might come in exactly around the 618 potentially. Okay, kind of in the middle here. The overall strength looks really good. We're seeing a lot of support here. I like that the 5, 8, and 21 are nicely stacked with the 34 and 50. So this looks really strong. If you're in it, this looks really continuing strength. Again, some overhead resistance around $14.50 into $15 due to the 50% retracement, and then the 200-day as well. Again, downward support is going to be initially the 11 to 1050 level for downward support there. Looking for a potential. The RSI is not signaling anything overbought yet, but again, if the overall market decides to kind of sell off, it's going to take the tide. It's going to take the tide of all these other smaller stocks with it. So that's the time to buy, right? If you have a good stock and for some reason the market's going down, but your stock has nothing to do with the market, that's the time to buy that particular stock. I'm not 100% sure what this company does though. Is this a retail store or something? Some kind of brand? Yeah, some kind of brand, of course. Guys, any more questions out there? I'm going to give it another 2 or 3 minutes before we sign off here. Again, we're going to be having another stock live stream on Sundays. Usually do that around 8:30 or 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Bob, do you believe in PFE? What's P? Is that Pfizer? Oh. So, yeah, you can kind of see it here. It's having a lot of issues here at the 200-day. It failed here with the squeeze kind of firing lower, so we could be seeing the next 2 or 3 days trading sideways, and then again, the 8 and 5 are below the 21, which is not a good sign. The parabolic SRRs are above. The 50-day, which is this little red teal line, is kind of coming in to save it. But I think it can only withhold it for so long. We'll have to see on what happens here. Again, overhead support or resistance is going to be around 37 here. So we're going to do that there. And then downward resistance, if you're not in it yet, is going to be very tight leash at around 35. Ryan, WTF on AMD? What? Yeah, I know. Tell me about it. AMD. I've had some longer positions in that. I don't know what they're doing over there. I think honestly, I'm gonna call. I don't know reason why, but I think the CEO, Sue, what's her name? Something Sue something. Got a lot of press about how big of her paycheck was, and I think a lot of people were like, really, like, because again, everything was tied to stock on her position, but because AMD went up 147% last year, so of course she got a nice payday, just like Elon Musk got a nice payday with his stock rocketing up. That's how CEO pay and that's how their performance structure works. That being said, with AMD, the 50 days really coming in here as well to kind of for ongoing support. You kind of see here on what I'm looking at here for a potential downtick to 50. I'm gonna add to my positions. It is really winding up for a potential move higher or lower. I'm hoping that it kind of bounces off the 50 here and continue breaking above the 21 and close above it for continuing support. But in the short term, I don't like it. It could be a potential buying opportunity if it gets down to the 50. With the overall market kind of going down the last today and last night, we could potentially see further downside. Again, I'm kind of slowly leaning to it can continue trading sideways or going lower, because it needs to kind of have to break above the 21 for me to give it any more praise. Oh, it owns Outback, Carrabba's, and Lobster. Okay, that's cool. So that's basically a restaurant play, and those guys are opening up. So yeah, those are pretty safe bets. I see those everywhere. So, how much would work need to crush earnings to be offset? Removing again, it doesn't matter. Like the thing is from my experience, that's why I don't normally like to analyze the earnings, what they say in the numbers, because it's a complete coin flip. So they can crush the numbers, but if they give crappy guidance, they can bring the stock down. Yeah, I think I kind of agree with you. I think a lot of people don't understand. I think just people think of AMD of just the people who make the processor that came back from the dead, that used to really be beaten up by Intel. SJU. So the reason, again, we don't know the 100% reason because we're not the all-knowing power, that it could be, again, it literally has run up quite significantly, nearly, 32% the last week and a half, on the expectation of maybe beating the number or just being fantastic. And then, of course, their guidance. We have to listen to what the CEO says. Again, we have to listen to what the C-suite says of, again, things could turn around for sure. Like, this could be a buying opportunity. Again, you saw me live sell the 34 put, and of course we are well through that already. So most likely going to have to roll that, even though it is 2 weeks out. I do have plenty of time left. We could get a nice bounce back. Again, really looking for the 21 tomorrow to kind of close above 33. That's honestly what I'm looking for if it continues going down. We kind of need some kind of strength here to kind of people to kind of get in here and help us out here, right? Bob, what do you think of LMNX? Never heard. Do I know that one? LMNX. Why is this not typing? LMNX. All right, don't know what they do. So you said there's support. Yeah, so basically it's going to have ongoing resistance around the 21 because it's already below it. The parabolic SAR is also on top of it, which means more continuous downward pressure. We do have a dividends coming out. Looks like earnings kind of popped off, and then something else happened, and it just kind of just fell out of the sky, lack of better words. It's broke below the 50. It's not honestly looking too shabby there, Bob. Again, it needs to kind of break above 32 and close. For downward support, like looks like it could trade sideways, but it's had a couple like staircases lower. Not even staircases. That's like an elevator drop. So we could see an elevator drop potentially to 26, because the RSI as well has not signaled anything at oversold. We have the volume oscillator kind of breaking into negative territory, so we could be seeing some further downward pressure. Let me pull up this guy over here for you on the 4-hour chart. Yeah, this is gonna be a weird one. We're kind of looking for some. Yeah, I see some support around 30. So if you're looking at the 4-hour chart, it's gonna basically, I'm gonna call support around 29. That's gonna be the 200-day there. For a potential pop higher, I don't know exactly what they do. So my current inclination is that on the daily chart, the 5 and 8 need to start kind of stop dropping. It looks like they're trying to build a base, and it needs to break above the 21. All right, guys, I'm going to call it here. Again, thank you everyone for coming out. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Again, if you did enjoy it, don't forget to hit the like. And I like to do these more often to kind of talk about potentially maybe doing these at the beginning of the market open. I kind of like to do it around earnings. Oh, David D, last one. Okay, we can talk about DraftKings. So I actually got out of this. So this box was what we were looking for, that potential move. DraftKings, nothing too crazy to report, honestly, because it's still holding the momentum averages of 5 and 8 on the daily. It is pretty close. If it's closing below the 8 exponential moving average and below this little purple dot, you barely see that purple dot there. It's right above it. We could be seeing a fairly quick downtick to the 21, which could be the 33 there, David. And then, of course, it needs to kind of break above its high, so it's around 45 there. All right, guys, thank you so much for everyone for coming out. I greatly appreciate it. We'll be doing most likely more of these. I enjoy it quite a bit. And you guys have a safe trading day, and I will talk to you guys soon. Bye.